Greetings, salutations, and welcome, internet friends. We're doing something new today. But yes, Pippin, we're doing something new today. Hope you're all doing well. This is Andrea. You may or may not know her. She is my best friend and roommate. And this is Pippin. He is my cat. He is doing this right now. So I guess enjoy the ASMR. So this is the first episode of this thing we're doing. We're just calling it Just Some Vodcast. Very simple, very on the nose, but you know, whatever. We're gonna just be talking about all kinds of things. Yeah. We may go with the format of every episode has a certain topic. Sure. We may not. I don't know. We're just kind of showing up and chatting. And if anybody wants to watch and then be a part of this conversation, please feel free to leave your comments below.
Or even to give us future podcast ideas.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, we're just here talking, so let's get to it. Today, we've decided to talk about nostalgia.
Nostalgia.
I wore my shirt. What do you got going on?
I got my little 90s.
Nice, yes. Nice. Would you say that the 90s is your area? Like, what's your...
Yeah, so I was born in the early 90s, so some of that bleeds over into the early 2000s, makes a big impact. So, you know, the little stretchy chokers were a thing for me.
They were a big deal. I was born in the mid 80s, so we're a little bit different. Not much though, because I would say the majority of like my true nostalgia, like building experiences occurred probably in the like mid to late 90s, early mid 2000s.
Right.
But then you think about it and then you get into college era and that's a whole nother level. That's a different brand of nostalgia.
That is.
I don't know. I think it's just interesting the different generational kind of things that evoke like, oh, you remember when so-and-so and such and such. It's just...
I feel like that's an area where people can bond over if they're of the same, you know, generation.
Yeah. And sometimes not even necessarily the same generation, but the same kind of vibe of generations. Because I've had some really interesting conversations with some hardcore hippies. Because there's some overlap. You know, they say what certain things skip a generation.
Oh, yeah. It always comes back in style.
So, yeah, I think that and point in case it comes back in style, that's not an antique.
No, it's not. I bought this necklace, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe a year?
The things that are kind of hurting me are the things that I'm like, we suffered through this so you wouldn't have to. The gauchos are making a comeback. And
oh, no.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about it, man. I don't know about it.
No, I'm very anti-gaucho.
It was a very troubling time for us as a nation, truly.
This was like early teens, maybe a little preteen. I had the gaucho clog combo.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was rough. And it was all brown, so it was super flattering.
What was that about? There was a whole... Brown had a whole era.
And the big chunky belt, the big round medallion belt.
Okay, so all right, we're going to go fashion now. Did you ever get into, like, were you obsessed with all of the clothes from Delia's or Alloy? Or, oh my God, there was another one. I don't know. It was like the 2002 girl magazines, you know.
You know, we were a Walmart family.
I mean,
so,
no.
You know,
don't get me wrong.
We didn't get into much into labels.
No.
Yeah.
Let me correct myself. I was interested, but did not own any.
I don't think I knew that much about labels in that time.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with the umbrella sleeves, like at the wrist going out. So anything with that, I was about.
I'm still a slut for a good sleeve, you know, big bell sleeve. Yeah. Those were real. The peasant tops.
Peasant tops.
Yes. It was a whole romantic moment that I just loved.
Now, do you remember the popcorn tops?
Yes.
Oh, they came in a little box too, right?
Yeah, they looked like, if you've never seen these things, give it a Google. popcorn shirts. They look like doll clothes.
They did.
And then you put them on your body and they stretch to fit.
It was truly one size fits all.
Well, that's not true because I put one on and I was like, nope, not even close. Absolutely not.
That's what they were going for. And it's just, I don't think it should be made like that. It's a little rough.
It was a whole concept, a concept that I don't think was executed very well personally. But there are plenty of people out there that loved them, so I guess fight me. Okay, so hold on. Speaking of popcorn, did you ever see, this may have been before you, because I think it was like, I want to say it was in the early 90s when this happened. It was flavored colored popcorn. There was like 3 different flavors. I think there was like a blue, a red, and a green or something.
No, I distinctly remember the big tins of popcorn with the 3 different flavors, the caramel, the cheese, and the regular.
Those are great. Still love those. But no, this was like a novelty kind of type thing. And I never tried it. And I just want to know if anybody else out there. So first off, is this like a Mandela effect or whatever? Mandela effect. Or am I misremembering something else? Or is this a real product? Y'all verify me, okay? And did you like it?
Oh gosh. I remember the fruit roll-up tongue tattoos.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Do you know, I think zebra gum is finally going out of business.
Really?
I can't believe they lasted so much longer than their own flavor, you know?
Wow.
Okay, so we're talking a little bit about the vibes and the feels. But like put to words. When you have this nostalgic moment when you think about stretchy necklaces, what does it feel like in your body?
Kind of like the brain lights up with some little happy chemicals. Yeah. It takes you back to a simple time for you.
Yeah.
Where all you cared about was the stretchy necklaces and the slap bands and that was your biggest thing.
If you could overcome that battle, you were golden.
God, Mom, just let me get the highlights.
Just please. If I could get this
chunky highlight,
pink see-through blow-up chair, I'd be so happy. It's a tingly feeling. Yeah. It's kind of similar to like when I pet Pippin.
Aww.
Yeah, I said your name. Okay, well, just stare at me then, creep. You're a cute creep, though. I just think it's so funny when you take a moment to be like mindful of your body and how you experience certain sensations. I don't know, that's just so interesting. If you ever have, I hope you don't, but if you ever have a moment where you're frightened and it's not a life or death kind of situation, but you realize that you're frightened, really take in the way your body feels. I did that not long ago. Matthew stepped out from around the corner because he's a fucking mouse and I can never hear him, and it scared me. And in that moment you feel like your body feels cold and hot at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know, just the body sensations of the brain things are always so interesting to me.
I'm so, or at least I have been so unobservant about really anything. But taking stock of what your body's feeling is a newer thing I'm trying to be more mindful of. Dang.
It's a worthwhile endeavor, I think, because then you're more appreciative of when the good things happen because you know what your body's going to feel, Did you like my little dance I did there, Pip? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bother you.
For those listening, she did a shimmy.
I did a little shimmy.
A little sassy shimmy.
Y'all tell us. What do you feel? Is there any specific bodily thing, or is there a spot in your head that kind of tingles or lights up? What does nostalgia actually feel like for you? And what are the things that evoke that? Is there something that hits you so hard, consistently? Because sometimes you get surprised by the nostalgia.
Right. Yes.
Those are always fun.
I will say one thing that comes up for me the most is there was a very distinct smell of my grandmother's house, right? It was a very specific smell. And I got hit so hard with nostalgia to the face. It just hit really hard. And it was, oddly enough, in my hometown, which is not where my grandmother was from. She lived in Alabama. There was this Chinese restaurant that had a little foyer that was like closed off before you get into the restaurant. So it didn't have the food smell like when you normally enter a restaurant. That foyer specifically smelled like my grandmother's house. And every time I went in, it was just hit with it.
That's so wild. That's wild.
I know. I have no idea why that place smelled that way.
Yeah. Sometimes, like, the things that combine to make smells that are similar are just so freaking weird. Like, that shouldn't be the case, but okay, it is.
Do you remember a time you were surprised by your nostalgia?
One of the things that always sticks with me, and this is kind of a sad nostalgia, you know?
Okay.
So, like, my brother and I, we grew up with our grandparents, like my maternal grandparents. And our grandfather passed away when I was around 17, 18, somewhere in there. Time is a nebulous thing for me nowadays. I remember helping my grandmother, like, this was like a month or so later. And he had been sick. We knew he was going to pass. I was helping her clean out the house, and like, we found a bag of his clothes that had been put in the back of the closet. And their closet always had like a cedar lined closet. So it already had such a good smell.
Oh yeah.
But that combined with when I opened the bag, there were like his clothes in it, and they just still smelled like him. And that was like almost 2 months that I had been away from that smell, you know, and it hits you so hard. And it's like, it's almost like a physical punch almost.
Yep.
You're just shocked for a minute, and then it like you just kind of sink back into that last moment that you had. The smell is so freaking powerful.
It is. Like, it's very powerful. I feel like it. Yeah, sure, we get a memory of a good time, but I think we are more likely to remember it if there was a scent attached to it. It's something that adds to that layer of memory.
Yep. That's why I can't smell. Tommy Boy makes me mad because an ex wore it.
Oh no. Well, I mean, speaking of sad or bad nostalgia, do you have any negative nostalgia?
Yeah, there are certain songs in particular that will take me back to bad mental health times.
Yeah.
That I would like this was when I was much younger and in a very angsty moment, but I used to self-harm, and there were songs that I almost kind of ritualistically would listen to. And so whenever I hear them, it's kind of like, it's a very, very weird sense of simultaneously control and lack of control just from hearing a song, because it takes you back to that really negative headspace. I've meditated on that before, and it was very weird because you think through the process of why does your brain associate this song so heavily with this moment in time, and like how you felt during that moment in time, and basically just breaking those feelings down now as opposed to back then. And it's rough, but I think it's still a good aspect of nostalgia, because it reminds you of like the harder times that you've dealt with and helps you appreciate the somewhat better situation that we found ourselves in today. What about you?
I think like you, I have a lot of music related things that if I hear a song, it really takes me back. For me specifically, when it came to past relationships, there was always at least one song that would like remind me of the entirety of the relationship. And I remember there was one time after a relationship had ended and I was in the mall and I heard that song. I had a visceral reaction to it. I had to walk out and walk away because it reminded me of all the negative parts of that relationship. So scent and sound, I think, help accent things a lot.
And in the same kind of thing, taste. There's certain, like, salted pork will transport me back to a 7-year-old Emily in my great-grandmother's kitchen eating her Depression era food and thinking it was the greatest thing that ever was, because guess what? It was.
Salted pork.
Salted pork, man. BT dubs, if you're unaware, I grew up in the fucking country.
We both did.
Mm-hmm.
We both did.
Which is so funny.
Yeah.
Any particular foods that bring you back to something?
Foods. That's an interesting one.
Because for me, it's almost a hand in hand when we're talking about food, the flavor versus the scent. Because you don't have one without the other, you know?
I think a lot of Southern food brings me back to my grandma that lived in my hometown versus my grandmother who was in Alabama. I think for my grandmother in Alabama, it was her spinach manicotti. That was a thing.
I forget that you are Italian.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that sounds very Italian.
I was like, manicotti.
Yeah, spinach manicotti takes me back. But for my grandmother on my mom's side here in Mississippi, it was green beans and black-eyed peas and butter beans. Or butter beans.
Butter beans.
Butter beans.
There ain't no tea in there. It's all butter beans. I'm like, what?
It's all butter.
It's all yeah. I love my mother dearly, but Lord have mercy, Southern moms can cook food to death.
I love it.
I want to be able to bite into my vegetable and it go crunch.
No, give me the bacon grease and the butter. Yes, it really is. That kind of food will take me back, especially mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes, big time.
You know what, a real comfort for me sometimes is? This is poor nostalgia, okay? I grew up poor. Mayonnaise sandwiches.
Yes, we talk about. Yes, so she does the mayonnaise sandwich, but I did the mayonnaise with a line of ketchup.
Oh, you monster!
I know. It brightened it up a little because bread and mayonnaise. Okay, so. Also, the other thing was I didn't do sandwich style, two pieces of bread together.
No, it's a roll up,
it's a taco. You just use one slice of bread. You slather it in mayonnaise.
Well, not slathered.
You slather.
Oh,
okay.
Apologies.
It is 80% mayonnaise. Okay.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm real bad at math, but that's too much mayo. Don't do it.
I like mayo, which is okay, but now you understand why I had to put the ketchup. You gotta lighten it a little.
I get it now.
You gotta put a little ketchup in there. You just smush it, and it's oozing out the edges.
Oh my God, no. There are people out there with a mayonnaise hate
aversion,
that just through their phones.
Yeah, mayonnaise and ketchup sandwich. We also recently rediscovered or re-experienced the bread, butter, sugar, cinnamon, as I call it. She calls it cinnamon toast.
It's cinnamon toast.
Yeah, I was raised calling it bread, butter, sugar, cinnamon.
That's too many words. Mine's only 2 words.
But she does it as actual toast, and that's how she was raised with it. It's a similar concept, only I like it gooey and very soft. So she will do butter on the bread, sugar, and cinnamon, right? And put it in the oven, toast it up real good. Whereas I will put it in the microwave
like
until
a savage.
Listen, it's how I was raised. That way it's gooey. Just think cinnamon roll, okay?
Listen.
It's so good.
The other day, you weren't here.
Okay.
But I got a little snacky. And I was like, oh man, I think I'm gonna make some cinnamon toast. And then I was like, let me try the ooey gooey method. And I'm gonna be real with you. It slaps.
It slaps. If you put enough butter to where it's gooey.
Yeah, you gotta. The butter ratio's gotta be. It's a very Southern ratio.
Listen, this is how I was raised. Heavy on the sauce.
So I did this. I did one that was I did a experiment basically.
Okay.
One I just did in the microwave and it was pretty fire. But I combined our methods and I did another one in the microwave and then threw it in the oven on broil for a minute. And he gave it just enough, kind of like a brulee kind of thing.
Ooh, on the top? Ooh.
I'm just saying, between the two of us, we make a very unhealthy bread snack. So
wow. I mean, this was poor people food. I mean, you got to start with the bread. It fills you up,
That's the only food there. Everything else is just trash.
What are some food nostalgias for you guys? Leave it down below in the comments. I'd love to hear some wild ones.
It also makes me feel so good when other people are like, fuck yeah, man, I sandwiches. Absolutely.
I feel like that's a very specific experience.
Yeah,
for
like
people.
You have to make under this much money to really appreciate. Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Okay, so we talked about negative nostalgia for a little bit, right? Like, or a sad nostalgia. But so there's another mentality, or that's kind of been talked about, is toxic nostalgia. Matthew brought this up the other day when we were kind of talking about it. Is essentially like looking back on these times with the intent of, man, life would be so much better if this were the case. This were still this. I don't have those moments because a lot of my nostalgia is still tinted with negativity. Because, like, I mean, like, I grew up fairly poor and in the middle of nowhere. And, you know, everybody's got their own problems.
Right.
I especially right now, I feel pretty safe and, like, secure in my life. Mm-hmm. So when I look back on these, like, moments, I'm just like, well, that was a time and space that I occupied, and I enjoyed this aspect of it. But this is the time and space that I currently occupy, and I'm going to make the best of it.
Well, I think that's the thing. I think a lot of people probably do look back at certain memories and wish, oh, if I could just be back there. I think we get a lot of that when we are in a less healthy place. So when my mental health gets pretty bad, that's what I'll do.
Yeah.
Or escape with movies or something like that. But specifically, I'll think back on, you know, fun, carefree times when I'm in my bedroom with my little canopy, little bed, and the little beads over the doors, and be like, I wish I didn't have responsibilities and was just carefree then.
That part is the, I wish this.
But I think that we experience that more when we're not as safe and comfortable in our current time.
Absolutely.
So that's a form of escapism there. Now, if you just live your life looking back on it, wishing you were there, there might be an even bigger problem underneath.
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all tell us, have you ever had those moments of like toxic nostalgia of like being lost in the past, basically? Now I have to ask, you mentioned the canopy and the beads. You had those?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What color was your room painted?
So it depends. At a certain point, it was just white and plain.
Yeah.
But when we moved, back in my more like solid teens, like 16, 17, it was a lovely like wine purple on a wood paneling wall.
Oh, I bet that was an interesting sight.
It was something.
I'm here for it.
Painted it with me and my childhood friend. We didn't know how to paint, obviously. And we shut all of the windows and doors when we painted. And we were higher than hell. We were rolling.
You guys, painting is so much fun.
We had a blast. It was a very interesting color purple. But I loved it.
I too had a purple room, but mine was like a quintessential 2004 lilac.
Yes.
You know, like that light purple. I think it was called like wisteria mist or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
See, my bed canopy was a lilac. And then the beads in front of the door were this deep purple, blue, like disco-y, you know, that reflective stuff. It was so cool. Man. And then, do you remember the little light globes that would turn, you know, and they would have little shapes on the globe?
Oh,
not a disco ball version,
it's
but like
shadow box moving kind of thing.
Yeah, I had that with like flower cutouts, and it was like purple and yellow and pink. Like it wasn't glass; it was plastic that was over it. Was colored and tinted.
Nice.
So yeah,
I didn't have beads. My mom wouldn't let me put anything decorating outside my door because she said it's kind of tacky. I was like, it's kind of awesome.
It was awesome.
But I did at one point have a blow up chair that was I think, popped within the first week.
No.
So, yeah, I didn't get another one.
Oh,
And I did have a clear phone, but that was much later. Like, I was
so jealous.
I was an elder teen at that point. I think I
gosh.
was like 17 or 18.
I didn't have enough room in my house, well, in my room for the blow up furniture, but I wanted it so bad.
Oh, I didn't either. That's why it popped.
Oh, no.
Because I think I had it like next to my desk, and I dropped a pin on it. And it scared the shit out of me.
Wow. I remember a friend who had a waterbed.
Oh.
Yeah. Fancy. That's living life on the edge right there.
Yeah. I don't think I'd ever give a teenager a waterbed. That just seems like you're setting yourself up for failure, you know? Well, what else? Anything else nostalgia's popping up in your head?
The 90s cartoons.
Oh, God.
Yes, the Saturday morning cartoons. You and we remember strongly the As Told by Ginger Foutley.
Oh, yes.
Which a lot of people tend to forget about.
So I think it was a little bit later.
Yeah.
I think it was late 90s, early 2000s.
It was, yeah.
So, I mean, I think some people may have missed it. And it was a little bit more of a subtle show, too.
It was. It wasn't on the, like, popular top 10, you know? But I loved that show so much.
Listen, the episode with her shaving her legs hit me so damn hard.
Oh, my God.
As, like, a hairy beast of a person. Like, it got me.
Well, it hit me differently because I wasn't allowed to shave my legs yet.
Oh, yeah. Well, my mom, like, tried for the longest time. She was like, don't do it. You're gonna hate it once you start. And she was right.
Yeah.
Well, as with so many things that I look back on, I was like, damn, she was really right. Okay, so now I'm just gonna ask, like,
Okay.
if you could go back and tell your younger self, like your 15-year-old self, one thing,
Ooh.
what would it be?
Stop caring so much about what other people think. And I still need to tell my current self this too, but maybe if I'd gotten that little nugget in as I was developing, might have been helpful.
Not even so much necessarily what other people think, but like the bad things you think about yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, trust me, if you think you're fat right now, you have no clue, baby girl. Love yourself right now, and then future me will be so much better for it.
No, really.
I think that's probably what most people would tell themselves. Like, don't worry about what everybody else is thinking or doing or saying. Worry about you and what you love. And everything else will just take care of itself. Yeah.
I think I definitely didn't appreciate the way I looked when I was younger. And then you look at those pictures back and be like,
oh my God, gorgeous.
And be like, well, I certainly didn't feel that way in the moment, you know?
It's just so interesting to see now with an adult's eye.
Right.
Like all of the shit that you put yourself through. Unnecessarily, you know. It's like, oh, bless your bones.
What about any nostalgic bands or anything like that for you?
For like earlier memories, it's honestly like 90s country.
Ooh.
That's pretty much what I grew up on. I didn't get introduced to like anything outside of top 40 until I was well into my teens. Thanks, white rural Mississippi.
Well, I mean, I also had I call it the best era of country because
that is
really
true. That is accurate.
It really was. It kind of went downhill after that, but I had that, and you know, everyone has like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. No, baby.
Oh.
Mine was Dream Street.
Oh, I know.
Nobody remembers Dream Street. Nobody remembers them. And I'm like, that was my heart. That was my boy band. Okay. And they were supposed to make a movie and they didn't. And then I got really sad about it because Jesse McCartney broke that band up. Damn. I'm so upset.
Damn.
Nobody remembers them. They made like one CD.
Well, at least you had Lizzie.
I did have Lizzie. I did. And, you know, NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and all of that was there, but Dream Street. I know. I got so upset about it. And then I get older and everyone my age is like, what was Dreamsphere? I was like, how do you not remember?
I'm so offended right now. Oh my god. This was in the midst of the Spice Girl. Oh well, no, it was a little bit past the big Spice Girl like pop off.
Yes.
But girl power was still going pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this Irish band called Bewitched, and it was just like, I think the letter B and then Witched. And they had like this single that they put out, and I was obsessed with it. Like, I played that thing nonstop. That and the first Hanson album are like hit me so hard. I like listened to Hanson, like I can't remember the name of it. Was it Bop or
I think so.
It was the one that Bop was on.
Yes.
I listened to that like a year ago now, and it was just the whole time I was like, yeah, man, yeah, this is that shit. I'm sorry, they talented as hell. You can't tell me you didn't love Hanson. You better not tell me you didn't love Hanson.
No.
Did you not know
It'd be great if I knew who it was.
No. Andrea?
I remember Bop.
Well, I hope y'all enjoyed this first and last episode.
Sorry, guys. I messed this one up.
You know what? That's on me.
I ruined it.
That's on me. That's on me. No, I think we will wrap it up, though.
Yeah.
But this has been fun. I like this.
I love it.
I hope y'all enjoy it, because we're having a hell of a time.
Having a blast.
Just sitting around, chatting, talking. Y'all let us know, what are some ideas? What are some concepts? Topics that we should discuss in the future. Make sure, let us know about what is your nostalgia, what's your music, all the questions we asked during the video. And yeah, just let us know, do you like the format? Do you think anything should change? We're open to feedback.
Absolutely.
Anything else from you?
I think that's it.
Okay. Pippin, you good? He said nostalgic for some treats. Overall, this has been a freaking blast. Y'all let us know what else we need to do, what else we can talk about. Gotta tell you, I think that this whole little thing, it's gonna make a memory for me.
Yes, absolutely. One of those core memories.
Core memory unlocked. Y'all take care, and we'll see you.